The first thing I noticed when I opened my front door was the smell of unfamiliar cologne. Not the kind I wear, something cheaper, muskier. The second thing was the music, soft jazz playing from our bedroom upstairs. The third was the pair of half-empty wine glasses on the kitchen counter. My name is Jeremiah, and I wasn't supposed to be home for another 2 days. The London meeting had wrapped early, and I'd caught an earlier flight thinking I'd surprise my wife, Ava. Funny how life works sometimes. I set my briefcase down silently, years of corporate stealth mode kicking in. The house felt wrong. Our house. The one I'd spent countless overtime hours paying for while Ava complained about my long workdays. Now I understood why she'd stopped complaining months ago. The buzzing sound from upstairs made my stomach turn. I recognized it. The back massager I'd bought Ava for Christmas. She'd called it thoughtful but impersonal. Now I heard it humming away in our bedroom, accompanied by muffled laughter. I climbed the stairs, each step feeling like lead. The bedroom door was cracked open, spilling warm light into the hallway. More laughter. A man's voice. "You're sure he won't be back until Thursday? Trust me." Ava's voice purred. "Jeremiah's probably boring some boardroom to death right now with his spreadsheets." I pushed the door open. The scene burned itself into my memory. Scattered clothes, rumpled sheets, and there on the floor, a pair of boxer shorts I'd never seen before. The back massager buzzed away on the nightstand, forgotten. Ava sat up quickly, but she didn't scream or try to cover herself. Instead, she smiled. Actually smiled. "Well," she said, "this is awkward." The man beside her turned, and my world tilted sideways. Cade, my boss. The COO I'd worked alongside for 5 years, whose success I'd helped build with countless late nights and perfect presentations. "Jeremiah," he said, reaching for his pants. "This isn't—" "Don't bother." Ava cut him off, stretching lazily. "Might as well tell him the truth now." She looked at me, her eyes gleaming with something like triumph. "It's been going on for a year, honey. A whole year while you were busy climbing the corporate ladder. Turns out I needed a real man's touch." I stood there, perfectly still, my face a mask of professional composure, the same expression I'd worn through 1,000 meetings. Inside, something was breaking, but decades of corporate training held me together. "How long have you been planning to tell me?" My voice came out steady, controlled. Ava shrugged. "We weren't. You were supposed to stay convenient, the reliable husband who paid the bills while I had my fun. But since you're here—" She reached for Cade's hand. "I suppose this saves us the trouble of making up excuses." I turned without another word and walked out, closing the door quietly behind me. As I descended the stairs, I heard Ava laugh again, probably at my typical emotionless response. She'd always complained that I was too controlled, too measured. At the front door, I paused. My eyes found the tiny camera lens I'd installed months ago, part of a security upgrade I'd insisted on after a break-in down the street. Ava had forgotten about them. She'd forgotten a lot of things about me, like how I'd built my career on anticipating problems and planning contingencies. I looked directly at the camera and allowed myself the smallest smile. Then I walked out, closing the door with a soft click that felt like the period at the end of a sentence. But this wasn't the end. It was just the first line of a very different story. I sat in my home office at 3 a.m., surrounded by monitors displaying footage from the past 6 months. The security system I'd installed wasn't just about break-ins, it was about peace of mind. Now I understood why my instincts had pushed me to do it. "Play it again," I muttered, clicking through another clip. There they were, Ava and Cade, entering our house on a Tuesday afternoon in March. Another clip, April, May, June. Different days, same story. Sometimes they brought wine, sometimes takeout, always ending up in our bedroom. My phone buzzed. A text from Carson, my analyst at work. "You okay? Heard you're taking a few personal days?" I ignored it. focusing on a clip from last week. Ava and Cade in the kitchen, speaking clearly enough for the microphone to pick up every word. Poor Jeremiah, Cade was saying, pouring wine. Still thinks that promotion fell through because of budget cuts. Ava laughed, wrapping her arms around him. He's so focused on his precious spreadsheets. He never noticed you were using his strategy presentations as your own. God, remember that Asia-Pacific expansion plan he spent months on? Best work he ever did. Got me that corner office. Cade kissed her neck. And you, my dear, get all the credit for keeping him distracted. I paused the footage, my hands steady as I copied select clips to a USB drive. 5 years of loyalty to the company, of missing anniversaries and dinners, to perfect presentations that Cade had stolen. 5 years of Ava's calculated deception. The next morning, I walked into HR carrying a manila envelope. Olive, the director, looked up from her desk. Jeremiah, weren't you supposed to be in London? Plans changed. I placed the envelope on her desk. This contains evidence of serious ethical violations by Cade Turner, theft of intellectual property, misappropriation of corporate resources, and abuse of power through an inappropriate relationship with an employee's spouse. Olive's eyes widened as she opened the envelope. These are serious allegations. The video evidence is time-stamped and authenticated. There's also an external drive with additional documentation. I met her gaze. I trust this will be handled appropriately. She nodded slowly. I'll need to escalate this to the CEO immediately. And Jeremiah, I'm sorry, this must be difficult. This must be, I turned to leave, then paused. One more thing. I'd like to request copies of all my performance reviews and promotion recommendations from the past 5 years. I have reason to believe they may have been tampered with. Back home, I found myself in our bedroom, staring at our wedding photo. Ava looked radiant, sincere. I'd thought she was my partner, my support through the long hours and stress of corporate climbing. Instead, she'd been orchestrating my professional sabotage while sleeping with my boss. My phone buzzed again, an email from Olive. Emergency board meeting called. CEO wants to speak with you tomorrow. Confidential investigation launched into KT's activities. Your position is secure. I picked up the wedding photo and removed it from its frame. Behind it, hidden in the backing, was a small memory card. My insurance policy. I'd learned early in my career. Always keep backups. Another text from Carson. Holy shit. Cade just got called into the CEO's office. Security's waiting outside. What's happening? I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and logged into my personal cloud storage. Time to see what other secrets Ava had been keeping. She'd always used my passwords, claimed it was easier to share one Netflix account, one Amazon login, one life. What she didn't know was that I'd been tracking every login, every file access, every digital footprint. And now, as I began digging through the data, I realized this betrayal went far deeper than just an affair. The game was just beginning. The inheritance clause is quite clear, my lawyer said, spreading documents across his desk. Your wife's trust fund is contingent upon maintaining, and I quote, a faithful and intact marriage. With video evidence of infidelity, we can trigger the morality clause. I leaned forward. And where does the money go? To her sister, Peyton, the black sheep of the family. He adjusted his glasses. Though no one's heard from her in years. I have her address, I said, sliding over a piece of paper. Found it last night. 2 hours later, I parked outside a modest apartment complex in the suburbs. Peyton opened the door cautiously, looking nothing like the wild child Ava had described. No tattoos or piercings, just a tired woman in nursing scrubs. You're Ava's husband, she said, not a question. Was. May I come in? Her apartment was small but spotless. A 5-year sobriety chip sat on the coffee table next to nursing textbooks. Let me guess, Peyton said, pouring coffee. You finally caught her. I looked up sharply. You knew. About Cade? No. But Ava being Ava? Yeah. She sat down, hands wrapped around her mug. She got me cut off from the family trust because I was unstable. Funny how getting sober and becoming a nurse made me unstable, but her perfect marriage was worth millions. That's why I'm here. I explained the inheritance clause and my plan. The money should go to you anyway. I just need your cooperation. Peyton laughed bitterly. You want to redirect her trust fund to me? The junkie sister she loves to shame? She studied my face. There's more to this, isn't there? What do you mean? Ava doesn't just cheat, Jeremiah. She destroys. Did you ever wonder why your career kept hitting glass ceilings while Cade rose so fast? My coffee turned cold in my hands. What do you know? Before she cut me off, I overheard her talking to Dad about how she was managing your career to keep you dependent. Something about leaked presentations and blocked promotions. Peyton's eyes were hard. She learned from the best. Our father's favorite lesson was, control the money, control the person. My phone buzzed, a text from Carson. Board reviewed your evidence. Cade's gone. New position opening up. They want you to apply. I'll help you, Peyton said suddenly. Not for the money, though God knows I could use it for nursing school, but because Ava needs to learn actions have consequences. I pulled out my laptop, showing her the legal documents. Once you sign these, the trust transfer begins. It'll take about 2 weeks to... Wait. Peyton touched my arm. There's something else you should know. Last Christmas, when Ava thought I was still cut off, she got drunk and bragged about some files she'd taken from your laptop. Said they were her insurance policy with Cade. My fingers tightened on the laptop. What kind of files? Corporate stuff. Strategy documents, client lists. She said they were worth a fortune to the right people. Peyton's voice softened. I'm sorry. I should have told someone. I stood up, my mind already racing through possibilities. Don't apologize. You're telling me now. I handed her my card. My lawyer will contact you tomorrow about the trust fund. And Peyton, thank you. Walking back to my car, I called Carson. I need access to all the files Cade submitted as his own work for the past 5 years. Every presentation, every strategy document. Already on it, he said. But Jeremiah, it's bad. Really bad. Some of these files have your digital signature, but the metadata shows they were accessed from Ava's devices first. I started my car, a cold smile forming. Perfect. That's exactly what I needed to hear. The pieces were falling into place. Ava thought she'd been playing chess, but she'd forgotten who taught her the game in the first place. The encrypted files on Ava's cloud storage took 3 hours to crack. I'd always wondered why she insisted on using her own account instead of our shared one. Now I knew. Jesus, Carson whispered, scrolling through the documents on my office monitor. Every major strategy presentation you've done since 2019, client lists, market analyses, expansion plans, all forwarded to Cade's private email. I clicked through the emails between them, each one a fresh knife in my gut. Poor Jeremiah, Ava had written. Worked all weekend on the Singapore proposal. Too bad he'll never know it landed Cade that promotion. Cade's response, LOL. Should we tell him the board loved my presentation? Nah, let's keep our emotionally neutered golden goose working. Another email from last month. He's such a useful idiot. Thinks he's building his career, but he's really building ours. Carson put a hand on my shoulder. You okay? Keep reading, I said, opening another folder. This one contained photos. Ava and Cade at expensive restaurants, hotels, even a weekend trip to the Hamptons. All charged to his corporate card while I was working late, thinking I was advancing my career. My phone rang. Olive from HR. Jeremiah, I need you in my office. Now. 20 minutes later, I sat across from her desk as she slid a resignation letter across to me. Cade submitted this morning, effective immediately. She leaned forward. The board reviewed your evidence. They're disturbed by the extent of his intellectual property theft. Just his theft? Olive's face softened. The inappropriate relationship with your wife was also noted. But what concerns them most is the systematic suppression of your career advancement. She pulled out a thick file. We found dozens of blocked promotion recommendations for you, glowing performance reviews that never made it to the board. All blocked by Cade? With help. She hesitated. We found emails. Your wife had access to internal HR communications through Cade's login. She advised him on when to block your advancement opportunities. My hands didn't shake as I read the emails. They were cold, calculating exchanges about keeping me hungry but not satisfied. About ensuring I stayed productive without rising too high. The board wants to make this right, Olive continued. They're creating a new position, head of strategic development. They want you to apply. I looked up. The position Cade blocked me from last year? Yes, though they're offering significantly better terms now. She smiled grimly. They're also preparing a substantial back pay adjustment for all the promotions you should have received. My phone buzzed, an email notification. From Cade's private account to Ava. It's over. Board has everything. Don't contact me again. Ava's reply came seconds later. You promised to take care of me, you coward. What about our plan? I forwarded both emails to my lawyer, then turned back to Olive. I'll take the position. But first, I need copies of every document showing how they manipulated my career. For my divorce attorney. Already compiled. She handed me a USB drive. And Jeremiah? The board asked me to tell you, your Singapore strategy? It made the company $40 million last quarter. Under your name this time. Walking back to my office, I got another text from Ava. You think you're so clever with your videos and evidence, but you have no idea what's coming. I smiled, thinking of the inheritance paperwork being processed, of Peyton's signature on the trust transfer, of the eviction notice being prepared for our house. The house only in my name. Actually, I typed back, I do. Then I turned off my phone and started preparing for my interview. After all, I had a promotion to claim. Finally. My phone rang at midnight. I knew it was Ava before I looked at the screen. She'd finally discovered her credit cards were cancelled. You absolute bastard, she hissed when I answered. What did you do? I'm just protecting my assets during our divorce proceedings. I kept my voice calm, professional. Standard procedure. Standard proc. I can't even get into the house. The codes are changed, the locks are different. Yes, about that. I settled into my hotel room's armchair. You should receive the official eviction notice tomorrow morning. I had it courier delivered to Cade's apartment. That is where you're staying, right? Her laugh was sharp, brittle. You can't evict me from my own house. Our house? Check the deed, Ava. Check any document, actually. The house is solely in my name. Always has been. You were just... What was the phrase you used? Oh, right. Staying here. Silence on the line. Then, you're stalking us, following me and Cade. No need. The security cameras you forgot about did all the work. Though I have to thank you. All those emails you sent Cade about suppressing my career. Perfect evidence for both HR and my lawyer. You destroyed his career, she screamed. Everything we built, everything you stole, I corrected. My work, my presentations, my strategies. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? I'm not the useful idiot you thought I was. The sharp intake of breath told me she recognized her own words from the emails. Listen carefully, I continued. The house is mine. The cars are mine. Your credit cards are cancelled. And that trust fund you've been living off? You might want to check with your father about the fidelity clause. What are you talking about? Her voice wavered. The morality clause in your trust fund. The one that requires a faithful, intact marriage. I wonder how your father will react to the video evidence of your year-long affair. You wouldn't dare. I already did. The paperwork was filed this morning. But don't worry, the money isn't lost. It's just going to someone more deserving. Someone who actually earned it. Peyton, she whispered. You gave my trust fund to that junkie. Say, that junkie is a registered nurse working double shifts to pay for her advanced degree. Unlike you, she understands the value of honest work. I'll fight this, she threatened. I'll tell everyone what you really are. A man who caught his wife cheating with his boss, who discovered they were stealing his work and sabotaging his career. Please, tell everyone. The board already knows. That's why Cade resigned. That's why I'm taking his position. The line went quiet, except for her breathing. Oh, and Ava, check your email. I sent you something interesting. Screenshots of Cade transferring large sums to his offshore account last week, right before he dumped you and resigned. Seems like your backup plan just abandoned you. You're enjoying this, she accused. No. I stood up, walking to the hotel window. I'm just giving you exactly what you deserve. You wanted to play games? Fine. But you forgot who taught you how to strategize in the first place. This isn't over, she spat. Actually, it is. Your things will be packed and moved to storage tomorrow. The bill will go to Cade's address. You have 30 days to claim them before they're donated to charity. You can't just... Goodbye, Ava. By the way, remember how you always complained I was too controlled, too measured? You were right. That's exactly what makes me dangerous. I hung up and blocked her number. Through the window, I could see the city lights spreading out below, each one representing a life, a story, a future. My future was finally my own again. And it was just beginning. The divorce papers landed on my lawyer's desk with a satisfying thud. I'd included everything: the video evidence, the stolen presentations, the email trails showing how Ava and Cade had systematically sabotaged my career. This is quite thorough, my lawyer said, flipping through the stack. The infidelity alone would be enough, but the corporate espionage angle? She won't get a dime. That's not why I included it. I handed him another folder. These are records of every asset she claimed during our marriage. I want it all traced. He raised an eyebrow, expecting to find something. Ava wasn't just stealing my work. The numbers don't add up. Her shopping habits, the secret meetings with Cade. There's money hidden somewhere. My phone buzzed. A text from Peyton. Just got confirmation. Trust fund transfer complete. Ava's going nuclear. Right on cue, my email pinged. A message from Ava had been sent to the entire company. Urgent. The truth about Jeremiah's rise to power. I smiled, clicking it open. The email was a rambling accusation about how I'd manipulated evidence, fabricated timestamps, stolen Cade's work. Classic projection. Mr. Wilkins? My assistant poked her head in. The board would like to see you. Now. Upstairs, the boardroom was packed. The CEO sat at the head of the table, Ava's email displayed on the screen behind him. Interesting morning, he said as I sat down. Your wife seems quite upset about your promotion. Ex-wife, I corrected, pulling out my laptop. And I anticipated this. Permission to present some evidence? He nodded. I connected to the projector and opened a folder labeled Insurance. Move first. Here's Ava accessing my laptop at 2 a.m., copying files to her cloud storage. Next, those same files appearing in Cade's presentations, time-stamped hours later. And finally, the money trail. The board leaned forward as I displayed banking records. Each time Cade used my work to secure a major deal, a deposit appeared in this offshore account. Half the money was then transferred to this second account, registered to my wife under her maiden name. The CEO's eyes narrowed. How did you get these records? Legally, through my divorce proceedings and with help from corporate security. Ava used company Wi-Fi to access these accounts. Every login was logged. Murmurs around the table. The CEO held up his hand for silence. And the timestamps on the security footage, the ones she claims are fabricated. I pulled out a sealed envelope. The original recordings, authenticated by 3 independent forensic experts, plus sworn statements from the security company that installed the systems. 2 hours later, I walked out of the boardroom with my position secured and a bonus for uncovering corporate espionage. My phone was flooded with messages. Apparently, Ava had shown up at the office, demanding to be heard. Security footage showed her being escorted out, screaming about conspiracies. Cade was notably absent from her defense. Back in my new office, Cade's old one, I found a letter from Peyton. Trust fund secured. Using it for the nursing program and to open a rehab clinic. Thought you'd appreciate the irony. Ava's money helping addicts recover. P.S. She tried to call Dad. He hung up on her. I poured myself a drink and looked out over the city. My phone buzzed one last time. An email notification. Cade Turner has left the company. Please update your contact lists accordingly. I deleted it without opening it. Through the glass walls, I could see Carson giving me a thumbs up from his desk. He'd been promoted too. My old position needed filling. Everything was falling into place. Almost everything. I picked up my phone to call my lawyer. There was still the matter of the house, and I had plans for that too. The envelope arrived while I was packing for a weekend away. No return address, just my name in Ava's familiar handwriting. Inside was a single sheet of expensive paper, the kind she used for important correspondence. You took everything, it read. But we weren't the only ones lying. Beneath that cryptic message were medical bills. Not Ava's. They belonged to someone named Sarah Mitchell. Fertility treatments, prenatal care, dated 3 years ago. My phone rang. Ava. Figured it out yet? Her voice was silk over steel. Sarah was very interested in meeting you, the father of her child, the man who supposedly paid her to keep quiet. What are you talking about? Remember that business trip to Seattle? The one where you supposedly spent 2 weeks closing the Morgan deal? She laughed softly. Sarah says differently. She has proof, hotel receipts, photos, even love letters. She wanted money for her silence. I paid her. For years. My hands were steady as I spread the bills across my desk. You're lying. Check your bank statements from 2020. Those mysterious withdrawals you never questioned. Hush money. Sarah's been very patient, but now that I can't pay her anymore... She paused. Well, I'm sure the board will be fascinated to learn their new golden boy has a secret daughter he abandoned. I pulled up my bank records. The withdrawals were there. Regular payments I'd attributed to Ava's shopping habits. You really should meet her, Ava continued. Your daughter. She has your eyes, apparently. Sarah's willing to do a DNA test. Unless what? Unless you call off the dogs, restore my trust fund, give me the house, a fair divorce settlement. Do that, and Sarah stays quiet. Everyone wins. I said nothing, my mind racing through possibilities, connections, dates. I'll give you time to think, Ava purred. But don't take too long. Sarah's getting impatient. After she hung up, I sat in silence for exactly 1 minute. Then I called Carson. I need everything you can find on Sarah Mitchell in Seattle. Medical records, employment history, everything. The woman claiming to be your baby mama? Already on it. I could hear him typing. Ava's not as clever as she thinks. Sarah Mitchell exists, but she's not in Seattle. She's an actress in Tampa, hired through an agency 3 months ago. I leaned back. Let me guess, paid through one of Ava's hidden accounts? Bingo. Want the best part? The fertility clinic bills? Photoshopped. Badly. The doctor listed doesn't even exist. I opened my laptop. Send me everything. An hour later, I had what I needed. I called Ava back. Ready to negotiate? She answered smugly. Actually, I'm looking at some interesting photos. Sarah Mitchell, or should I say Jessica Torres, accepting payment from you last month. The receipt for the fake medical bills you had made. The emails where you coached her on what to say. Silence. You know what fraud is, Ava. It's a criminal offense. So is blackmail. The police are very interested in both. You're bluffing. Check your email. I just sent you proof that I've forwarded everything to the fraud division. They'll probably want to talk to you about those offshore accounts too. You bastard! Oh, and Sarah? She's already signed a confession. Turns out she didn't want to risk her acting career for a felony charge. I could hear Ava's breathing, quick and panicked. You tried to kill me with lies, I said quietly. But I buried you with the truth. Goodbye, Ava. I hung up and forwarded the evidence to my lawyer. Then I finished packing for my weekend away. The police would handle the rest. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Peyton. Just heard from Dad. She tried to claim I stole the trust fund. He laughed and hung up. Again. I smiled. Sometimes revenge is best served legally cold. The morning sun streamed through my new corner office as I reviewed the final divorce settlement. Clean, decisive, complete. No alimony, no shared assets, no loose ends. My phone buzzed. A news alert from the local business journal. Corporate scandal leads to criminal charges. Former executive and accomplice face fraud indictment. Carson appeared in my doorway, grinning. Have you seen the security footage from downstairs? Ava tried to get in again. Called herself Mrs. Turner this time. How'd that work out for her? About as well as it did for Cade when he tried last week. They're perfect for each other. Both banned from the building. Both under investigation. I closed the settlement papers. Any word on the Singapore office? Board approved it unanimously. They want you to head up the expansion personally. He paused. Though fair warning, Olive's planning some kind of celebration for your promotion. I heard whispers about cake. My computer pinged. An email from Peyton with a photo attached. She was standing in front of a small storefront, keys in hand. The sign read, New Beginnings Recovery Center. First patient intake next week, her message said. Thanks to you, something good came from all this. P.S. Ava tried calling me for money. I blocked her number. I was responding when my assistant knocked. Sir? The real estate agent is here about the house. The agent spread photos across my desk. My soon-to-be former house, staged and ready for sale. We already have 3 offers above asking price. Except the one from the women's shelter, I said, handing her back the papers. They need the space more than I do. After she left, I opened my desk drawer and took out the last physical photo of Ava I had. Us on vacation in Maui, before I knew what she really was. I'd kept it as a reminder, but now... Carson appeared again. Ready for the team meeting? Everyone's waiting to hear about the Asia-Pacific strategy. I dropped the photo in the shredder and stood up. Let's give them something worth waiting for. The conference room was packed. My new team, eager faces ready to build something real. No stolen ideas, no hidden agendas. Just honest work and earned success. Before we start, Olive announced from the back, the board asked me to share something. The SEC investigation into Cade and Ava's activities has expanded. They found evidence of similar schemes at his previous companies. How many others did they steal from? Someone asked. Doesn't matter, I said, taking my place at the head of the table. They're not our concern anymore. This is our future right here. I pulled up the presentation, my work, my vision, my name proudly displayed. As I began speaking, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Ava's last attempt. You think you've won, but you're still the same cold, calculating man I married. I smiled, deleted the message and blocked the number. She was wrong. I wasn't the same man she married. I was stronger, wiser, and finally free. Let's talk about where we're going, I told my team. Not where we've been. And as I launched into the presentation, I felt the last weight lift from my shoulders. The betrayal, the lies, the manipulation. They were just chapters in a story that was ending. My new story was just beginning. This time, I was writing it myself.